First thing I wanted to ask though, before we get into like the question, I just wanted to make sure that the health and safety program and the Great Lakes OSHA Education Center, they're kind of one and the same, right?
There are two parts, I guess, of the same thing. So the OSHA Education Center in itself is a specific program that's offered in partnership with the Department of Labor. So it is an entity by itself, but Eastern does sort of expands on that. So we have the OSHA Education Center, which is the Great Lakes OSHA Education Center. We're one of the consortium partners. And then we have some additional safety and health training that we offer. We offer some compliance training, which is what organizations need to do to stay in compliance with the OSHA standards for their, whatever the job is or the type of activity. So we do some compliance training. And then we also we have another grant through a Michigan OSHA or My OSHA consultation, education, and training grant for a class called Protection from Crystalline Silica.
Okay, I saw that was highlighted.
Yeah, sort of a high hazard industry. So, and then we have an online series also that is not necessarily affiliated with the OSHA Education Center, but it's part of our overall safety and health program.
Okay.
But the OSHA program is by and large, I guess, the biggest part of our safety and health program at Eastern, our non-credit professional program.
So the other stuff kind of just supports that, the certificates and the other stuff is kind of like ancillary to support the Great Lakes OSHA Education Center.
Yeah, support or complement. I guess it's more of a complement.
Okay, complement. Okay, that makes sense. I was just trying to because just compared to a lot of the other programs we've covered, it's like very broad kind of compared to like the like cybersecurity class, which we covered like last month. I felt like it was just a lot broader. So I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the right thing.
Because it's multiple complementary programs.
Yeah.
Occupational safety and health.
Okay, cool. Okay, so that makes sense. I think I was on the right track.
Yeah, and this is pretty timely because we just signed a new 5-year, it's called a non-financial cooperative agreement for our OSHA Education Center. It's a 5-year renewal of a program that's been in place for 25 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
25 years already. Yeah, since 1996.
Oh, wow.
So so that's one of the reasons why we wanted to highlight it this month, I think, because it's kind of a big deal to get that 5-year renewal again and continuations.
Great. So, all right, we can start with an easy one. Do you want to give us your name and title?
Sure. My name's Elizabeth Stoner, but you can call me Beth. My title is Director of Business Engagement and Non-Credit Initiatives at Eastern Michigan University, but I also hold informal title of Director of the Great Lakes OSHA Education Center at Eastern Michigan University.
Okay. So how long have you been affiliated with the program itself?
Well, with the safety and health program, I've been affiliated since 1996. We started out as an OSHA Education Center in 1996. That was when Eastern got the first non-financial cooperative agreement with the Department of Labor. So I started then as a program coordinator with the new OSHA Education Center. We were partnered at that time with the International UAW Health and Safety Department. So we called ourselves the Motor City Education Center.
Oh, cool.
And then in 2002, we added another consortium partner, the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine, which is actually now our lead partner in the 3-partner consortium. So I was involved with the OSHA Education Center for, I guess, 4 years then. And then I left to take a job with an e-learning company on a parallel project at Eastern still, developing some of our professional programs into online training programs. And then later, I guess it was 2015, I came back to the university. And for the past several years, I've served in this director role for both business engagement and the OSHA Education Center.
Was it just based on experience, or what I guess kind of what came first for you out of those two roles? It sounds like you've been involved in OSHA more, but that was kind of like the main.
Right. Yeah. So I was involved in safety and health programs for quite a long time, most of my career here at Eastern. So now I'm overseeing all of the program, but the OSHA program is still our biggest program.
Okay. So was the OSHA the first one that Eastern had in the PPAT program? Just out of
No,
curiosity.
No, Eastern's had a big quality and continuous improvement program back in the day. We still have some of those programs.
Yeah.
What else? Education. We do sketches for teachers, state continuing education clock hours for teachers. Social work. We help social workers maintain their licenses by providing continuing education programs and CEUs, and then we're starting to develop some things in the technology area and getting back into quality, as well as some new stuff. Introduction to Implicit Bias, Michigan Healthcare. That was a partnership with Trinity Health to help professionals maintain their different credentials or licenses.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of try to probe a little bit into the history of all the programs when I start the interview. So it's kind of interesting. And I think the quality and continuous improvement guys were like, I think we're the oldest, but they weren't sure they'd been around. So I was just kind of curious. But yeah, it's interesting. It seems like they've all, the bulk of them, been around for a while.
Yeah, I think that the quality programs have been around since the mid 80s, maybe early to mid 80s.
Which kind of makes sense with the surrounding automotive stuff, and it kind of made sense to me that one would be around for a while. So I guess you kind of already answered this third question, the background on your relationship with the program, health and safety and OSHA program. Is there anything else you want to add there? I guess just your relationship with it.
There's a network of 25 OSHA education centers made up of 37 consortium partners across the United States. And they have an executive committee that represents those education centers to the Office of Training and Education. So I've been serving on that executive committee for the last 4 years. This is my last year on it. So that's been an interesting experience and a really good experience to have that representative role and leadership role with the program.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So is it like a term thing? Is it 4 years and you're out, like a presidency sort of thing?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. They have a
4 years. So this is the fourth one.
Nice. Okay. So I don't know if you'll be able to answer this. This is what I was alluding to earlier about the history of the program. Like usually the people that run the courses, it's kind of mixed bags. They either started or have been there a while. They're just depending. Do you have any a brief history of how and when the program got started?
Well, the original OSHA Education Center at EMU was a partnership between the International UAW Health and Safety Department, Health and Safety Department, and EMU's what was then called the Center for Organizational Risk Reduction. And we called ourselves the Motor City Education Center at that time. And then in 2002, we added the third consortium partner, the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine, and now they're the lead organization. So our intention and our goal and our mission is to provide occupational safety and health training throughout a 6-state region, which is OSHA's Region 5. So that's Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota.
Are the regions based on I'm guessing they're based on the industries that are in those areas, or are they all kind of the same and it's just more about serving location? There's
a really great map on OSHA's website about the different regions and the different OSHA education centers in there's 10 regions across the United States.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of curious because I actually looked at that map earlier and I was like, I wonder if how they decided to do that. I wonder if it was based on the industries in those regions, or because I guess I was just wondering if you go to a different region, are they going to be teaching the same thing? But or if it depends kind of based on the industry.
Some of the OSHA education centers offer maritime programs because they're located near docks and shipping locations, but currently we don't offer that particular program. Even though we're in the Great Lakes, which you would think.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's true. One of the things that OSHA education centers typically do is they partner with organizations or industries within their region for customized training or specialized training specific for particular industry.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hence like the UAW partnership, and
Mhm.
that makes sense. So how did, I guess, yeah, this kind of leads in this. How did EMU kind of get chosen? That was just with the UAW. It was just kind of already an existing relationship, or how did that initial relationship come to be?
Well, the UAW and Eastern Michigan University have had a long-standing relationship, especially the health and safety department. So this was before my time, really, but the Center for Organizational Risk Reduction, which was originally a whole program in itself, they did a lot of compliance training. So that's where some of that HAZWOPER training comes in, fall protection, DOT, Department of Transportation training. Compliance training is what employers need to do. They need to train employees based on the risks that are inherent in their particular workplace. So if there's a risk of falls, employers need to provide a certain level of training to their employees to be in compliance with the OSHA standards. So Eastern started out many, many years ago doing a lot of compliance training and doing it for, the big three at that point, automakers here in Southeast Michigan and their supply base. So that relationship with the International UAW Health and Safety Department was long established at that point. And when we first started out, we used a lot of the UAW trainers as instructors for the new OSHA Education Center classes, along with other industry experts.
Yeah, depending on, that makes sense. So the biggest like attractor, or the biggest, probably, I guess we'll probably talk about this later, but like the largest sector of students, it sounds like, is probably from the automotive industry then.
Many of them are, yeah. But we do a lot of training for municipalities. We do training for employees in the construction industry. So multiple industries, but manufacturing definitely is one of our biggest industry bases. So yeah.
That makes sense. It's a little more complicated. I actually worked at Kroger when I was going to Eastern, and we had to do OSHA. We had OSHA related things there, and but it's all pretty simple at a grocery store. It's like, put down like a wet floor sign, if there's wetness. I think in like a factory floor, there's going to be some more serious things that you might need additional training for.
But we actually did have somebody from Kroger go through one of our certificate programs, because even places like Kroger need to be concerned about occupational safety and health. So it might be warehousing and storage. It could be, slips, trips and fall hazards.
Yeah, we do have power jacks, or we had like power jacks, some like heavy equipment that could get balers. I think there was some OSHA stuff surrounding that, the trash compactors.
So there's, I'm sure there is a safety manager,
right,
whether it's for an individual store or for a group of stores, but somebody responsible for managing the health and safety, or the occupational safety and health of the employees, under them. And actually, can I go back really quick to what the previous question about how it started? So it started with a request for proposal from the Department of Labor. So there was a national request for proposal to form OSHA education centers, and Eastern Michigan University and the UAW partnered to respond to that RFP and propose a new center with those two partners as part of the consortium. So that's how it all started out.
Okay.
And every 5 years, there's a new RFP from the Department of Labor, and we need to renew it every 5 years. So this last one was started October 1st, which is the beginning of the federal fiscal year. So now we're in a renewal again for 5 years.
Okay, interesting. So I read on one of the things you sent over that it's it initially starts out as a competitive thing. Like you have to kind of like prove your worth, I guess, as like the education center program. So did you have to do it again when you do like a renewal? Are there other like programs like trying to jockey for the for the position and whatnot.
Yeah, there's quite an extensive proposal that needs to be completed and submitted each 5-year cycle. It's like a grant without the funding.
Mm.
So it's
Yeah,
considered
I
not
saw it was very clear that there was no funding in the
no money.
in the
You don't get
writing.
any
Yeah.
money, but you're able to offer these courses as part of what they call the OTI Education Center Network.
Is there anything like partnering with OSHA as PPAT? You know, is there anything? What do you value most about that relationship?
Partnering with the Office of Training and Education for OSHA gives us a lot of credibility. I mean, it's really an honor to be part of 37 individual organizations across the United States that are part of this OTI Education Center network. Provide us with a structure and a framework for offering the programs. They provide us with programs like national emphasis programs where we can hold training to support those programs. There's a national emphasis program on fall safety, for example, falls in the construction industry. So every year there's a national fall stand down for the construction industry. So we try to align our classes and provide some sort of a discount or even a free class to correspond with these national emphasis programs.
Is this stand down? Sorry, that's just like, that just means is there like a work stoppage for training type of thing?
Yes, they have a Safe and Sound campaign, which ties in with our OSHA 7500 Introduction to Safety and Health Management class. The fall stand down to prevent falls in construction. There's a trenching stand down that occurs every year. And we just heard Jim Fredericks from the Department of Labor speak. And he was talking about trenching being a high priority for the agency because there are 15 trenching deaths every day.
That's just like digging. That's like digging out for like piping and underground sort of like, okay.
Yep, that's underground insane. Utilities, all kinds of things, building a house. You have to,
yeah, you wouldn't think that would be, I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily have thought it would be that deadly. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, so they look at the fatalities in a particular industry and create these emphasis programs around developing awareness of the hazard, developing communication strategies to alert people, employers and employees of the hazard, and then different classes around some of those hazards so we can start to educate people on how to keep themselves safe and protect themselves and others in these high hazard situations.
Yeah, so they give like the education centers enough notice. You guys can coordinate with them around these stand downs and these programs and kind of have like coordinated effort at the education centers, or?
Yeah, we can extend OSHA's message by supporting these national initiatives. Heat's another one. You know, as temperatures rise,
yeah,
it's important to let employers and employees know about what to look for and how to help people acclimate to different work situations that might be occurring in a high heat area, whether it's inside or outside. You know, construction working in the heat, or transportation if you're building roads, or any kind of working in the heat situations, or internally. Not all places are air conditioned.
Right.
And especially for workers who move around a lot, like they may move from location to location, and they might be acclimated to a certain type of heat in one area, but need to acclimate differently in another area, so they don't become overheated. The
delta in the like temperatures that they're experiencing. Yeah, I've heard that's like can cause shock and that sort of thing. So a super broad question, but I guess tell us about the program itself, as far as like content, format.
Sure. So we offer over 50 individual OSHA Education Center classes. They're called OTI numbered courses, in addition to other topics that aren't necessarily part of the OSHA Education Center, but are still occupational safety and health related, such as industrial robot risk assessment, the HAZWOPER, which really stands for Hazardous Waste Operations.
Okay, I saw that and I was like, I bet that means hazmat, and I clicked on it and I was like, yep, it is. Okay.
And other hazardous materials courses. We teach courses on DOT to compliance, different industries, if they're shipping things or handling things or labeling things for shipment, whether it's by train or by road or by air or by sea. There are certain regulations that they need to comply with. So those kind of compliance courses are some that we offer here. We also offer certificate programs. We have 5 different certificate programs, in addition to the Safety and Health Fundamentals Certificate that's offered nationwide. So that, in combination with our MyOSHA SET grant, the Protection from Silica class, which is offered free to Michigan-based businesses, particularly small businesses who can take advantage of that free training.
I was just going to ask, where did the focus for silica arise? Is that like a recent thing, or has that always been kind of like a focus?
This is the 4th year of our Protection from Crystalline Silica class. MyOSHA, this is Michigan OSHA, had come out with a new standard based on a new federal standard related to silica. Often they come up with new standards because of a high incidence rate. So there were likely a lot of injuries or illnesses related to silica. And so there was a national emphasis program. There were standards developed. Michigan adopted the standards, and we developed this Protection from Crystalline Silica course in response to that new standard from MyOSHA. So it was a way to communicate not only the hazards, but also the new standard out to employers and employees who are in those kind of industries that have that hazard.
Okay. So are the certificate programs, are they kind of like, are those just one standalone classes, or are those like some of the classes packaged together to like, when you earn a certificate? Is that how it works?
Yeah, for the certificate programs, classes are packaged together in different ways. So we have 2 different levels of certificates. We have certificates that are open to anyone. There's no prerequisite requirement for experience. And those are the Safety and Health Associate and the Safety and Health Professional certificates.
Okay.
We offer the Safety and Health Associate certificates, not an associate degree, it's a professional certificate. It's made up of courses that are common to, well, the people who are new to safety or don't have a lot of experience in safety would need that information. So for example, in the general industry Safety and Health Associate certificate, the OSHA 511 class is one of the required classes. That particular course goes over all of the different general industry standards and gives an overview of what they are, what's required to be in compliance. And it also includes Introduction to Safety and Health Management, which talks from a higher level perspective about safety in the workplace, what an effective safety program is, and the different components of that. And then the third class that's required for that particular certificate is Introduction to Incident or Accident Investigation, which is, it's typically a 1-day class, but we offer it as a 2-day class because we have an awesome instructor who, that's one of his areas of specialty. And so we were able to capitalize on the expertise of the instructor to provide some additional information and some additional interactive activities that really help participants understand what to do in the case of an accident, if an accident occurs in their workplace. And then there are some elective courses depending upon the participant's role, kind of industry they're in, and their particular interests.
Okay.
So there's 7 classes altogether, and the classes range anywhere from 4 hours to 4 days or 26 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a combination. And people can typically complete it within 6 months. They really have up to 5 years to complete it, but most people complete it within, I would say, 6 months to 2 years. It really depends on their own goals and their own motivation for completing it.
Okay. So is the Safety and Health Associate Certificate, was that designed in mind for someone that's going back to an organization and like dispersing this info to like a team, or is this someone that's like maybe like kind of just needs, you know, general knowledge about how to work safely, and they're like kind of maybe like someone like on the line, like would like I guess like someone in the manufacturing like assembly line, would they take that class, or is this more for like someone higher up?
We really have different types of people who take our courses. So we have people who are totally new to safety. Maybe often people get into safety because it's just an added responsibility to something that they're already doing, or the organization needs a safety person and they say, oh, so-and-so can do it. So they get into that position and then it's like, okay, what do I do now? So classes like the OSHA 511 let them know what the standards are, what they need to do to be in compliance in their workplace. There's another set of programs called the OSHA outreach programs, which are 10 and 30-hour classes that are more hazard awareness, what OSHA is, what the employer's responsibilities are, what the employee rights are, and then some of the different hazards in a number of different areas.
Yeah, almost like things to watch out for, like for your own well-being more than
right. How to keep yourself safe, and and then we have some people who are mid-career participants. Maybe they've been working in construction for a long time or in manufacturing for a long time, and they've either been injured or they no longer want to or are able to do the physical kind of work that they've been doing up to this point. So they want to transition into a safety role in their own company or transfer to a different company. So they would be people who might sign up for these Safety and Health Associates or the Safety and Health Professional Certificate, for example, or the National Certificate, the Safety and Health Fundamentals.
Okay.
And that gives them the information they need to start to get more involved in safety in their own organization.
Okay.
Or possibly transition into a new one. And then we do get people who are seasoned safety professionals who come to us to take our certificate. So we have a Safety and Health Specialist certificate that's really designed for somebody who has at least 5 years of experience in occupational safety and health already. And those people come to us often because they want to do training. It's a train the trainer program, or a portion of it is a train the trainer program for teaching the 10 and 30-hour outreach classes.
Oh, okay.
So they can become trainers within their organizations.
So that'd be someone, those are probably like the Safety and Health Specialist is the one you're referring to. That would be for like a larger organization, more likely.
Well, maybe, but it could also be somebody who wants to be recognized in a different way for the experience that they already have. So we do get people who come to us, participants who come to us for these certificate programs. Maybe they already have a certification, or they might just have a lot of experience, but they want a credential from Eastern Michigan University, that another layer of or indication of expertise in this particular area.
Okay. So are any of these certificate programs, they're pretty much used internally for the organizations? Are there any, like, does anybody take these trying to like get a career at OSHA or anything like that, just out of curiosity? I feel like with that amount of training, maybe like OSHA would start looking at some of these people, right? Is there like a career like that out there, or is this mostly like safety and for internal organizations?
So we don't really serve as like a feeder organization to OSHA, although we do get job postings where I can then share some of those with people who have completed our certificate programs and have that level of experience that maybe they'd be interested in this particular job. But a lot of what people want to do is maybe they want to retire and become an OSHA outreach trainer as a second career
Mm,
or retirement career, or maybe they need that credential or want that credential to transition into another job at another organization where
mm,
they can do training internally. So the OSHA outreach program is a separate program, but we as an OSHA Education Center serve as a train the trainer part for that. We offer, it's a series of 2 classes that you need to take for general industry. It's the OSHA 511, which is the standards course for general industry, and then the OSHA 501, which is the trainer course for general industry. And to take the trainer course, you need to have 5 years of occupational safety and health experience in general industry, as well as have taken the standards course within the last 7 years. And once you complete that 2-course series, then you're considered an authorized outreach trainer, where you can teach the 10 and 30-hour classes. Some people do that within their own organizations, and other people do it by offering open enrollment classes outside their organizations.
do they hop around different other organizations and kind of just do
They
that?
can get contracts with various
Okay.
organizations, that kind of thing. They can be listed on OSHA's website as an
Oh, nice.
authorized
Okay.
outreach trainer. There's a list of people who have opted in to have their name listed on the OSHA website as an OSHA authorized outreach trainer,
Okay.
which
Cool.
is another form of credibility,
Mm-hmm.
whether they want to offer open enrollment classes or not. It just
Yeah. Could maybe help them get a pay raise or something like that.
Could.
Yeah. For the on-site classes, how do most people come to those? Like, these seem a lot more specific than the certificate programs. Certificate programs are like broad compliance and safety programs, and then these specific classes, the on-site classes, like confined space, fall protection, forklift. How do the participants of these classes come to these classes? Are they usually I'm guessing it's probably like work driven, that sort of thing. Are they seeking advancement in their careers, or is it kind of just like required by their jobs?
For on-site classes, we come to you to train a group of people in your
okay.
organization. So a company would come to us and say, I have a group of people who need this particular training program, either to stay in compliance with the OSHA standards, or because they have it's possible that they've been cited through
Okay.
and have been told that they need to get training to remediate whatever citation they have, or they may just have seen an uptick in injuries or illnesses related to a particular topic in their workplace. So there's lots of reasons why companies come to us for what we call on-site training, but basically it's contract training, where we can come to your facility to teach your group or train your group in a particular area. We can take any of our OSHA classes to a company to train on site, but the ones that you talked about were basically compliance courses. So this is what an organization needs to do from a training perspective to stay in compliance with the OSHA standards that apply to their particular work situation.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think, because I think since I worked at such a large corporation that already had, processes for these sort of things in place, I guess I'm trying to think of like how that would work in a small organization. I guess it just kind of depends on the maturity of the organization. If they've had, are these sort of things like required by OSHA that you have to have a class at some point? Or is it like once the knowledge is already there, you can have your own internal training? How does that work? Like, do you have to have like a certain level to not have like an actual OSHA certified class at your organization?
OSHA has a document on their website called Requirements for OSHA Training. I'll have to find it. And it identifies all of the different types of training that need to be done to be in compliance with particular OSHA standards. So sometimes organizations have those resources in-house and they can do that training in-house with their own staff or their own safety people. But sometimes they don't have that training, or they want a fresh set of eyes, or they want an instructor who has some different credentials to be able to go in and do the training.
It just kind of
So-
depends on the organization itself and this, what sort of training they need, it sounds like.
Right. So we've done training for both big organizations and small organizations. It just really depends on what their needs are, what their current level of expertise is in-house to be able to support those training needs, and if we're able to offer the type of training that they require.
Okay. Let's see. I guess we kind of hit on these questions. The facts section. So do you have anything that you want to add about like the ideal audience of, I guess I'm kind of like viewing these as like kind of broken into two different categories of the certificates and the on-site classes, because I think they kind of hit different audiences, right? And then even the certificates themselves hit different audiences. So I guess, is there anything, you know, that you want to say kind of like overarching, you know, about the ideal audience of those different subsets, or if I'm off on that?
No, you're not off. Like there's compliance training, that would be where an organization asks us to come in and do the training to meet a particular compliance requirement. The certificate programs, those aren't required necessarily to teach, unless you're talking about outreach training, and then you have to take a series of courses to be an authorized outreach trainer. But our certificate programs are more for those, I guess, that 3 levels of audience. People who are new to safety and need to get a baseline knowledge about what's required for their particular industry, or they've been thrown into this new position and they have no idea what to do, and now they're responsible for safety. So it gives them a baseline knowledge, it helps them build a network, and you know, gives them access to trained, experienced instructors. Then those mid-career people who may have been injured or may want to transition into safety, maybe they've been working quite a while, and they're looking at, they may have been injured, or they may know of somebody who have been injured. One of the things that's really interesting, and I find really valuable about the whole sort of network of safety professionals, is that by and large, they're very dedicated. I mean, this is a life and death job for them in a lot of cases. They're helping people stay safe and go home from work safe, you know, and so both work safely and then go home to their families at the end of the day safely. And people are very passionate about it, and rightly so. Some people get into it after they've had some experience, either themselves or with a coworker, or you know, from an injury or illness or fatality perspective. So so they're a dedicated group of people for sure. Yeah, and then those seasoned safety professionals are people who may want to become authorized outreach trainers and take our 2-course series for general industry or construction, and offer the 10 and 30-hour outreach program classes to either people within their organizations or on an open enrollment basis to external clients that they can get, maybe by starting a business. Maybe they want to become a consultant at some point and capitalize on the experience that they've had all these years, and do training in a retirement career.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, it's kind of one of those programs that's so broad that there's like a lot of appeal for people at different stages. It just kind of depends what their experience is, what they're trying to do as their next step in their career. And it sounds like, you know, this program hits on everything from someone just starting to someone who's looking to start consulting. So I think that's like a good way to frame it. I think let's see, what do you believe? I think we kind of hit on that. What do you believe working adults seek out this program? What are some of the challenges or issues this program helps people overcome or solve? I guess, this is, I don't know if there's anything you want to add there about, some of the challenges or issues this program helps people solve.
For those people who are new to safety, this program helps them get some education along with the on-the-job training that they're getting as part of their new role. They want to know how to keep themselves and others safe on the job, and what they need to do to stay in compliance. For mid-career participants, they want to know what they need to do to keep their organizations in compliance, because they're responsible for safety at their organizations, not just for themselves. And they also may want to gain the knowledge or education they need to transition into a safety role. And then the seasoned professionals want to be recognized for their experience and expertise through one of our safety certificates, or they want to become qualified as an OSHA outreach trainer and be able to issue cards from the Department of Labor to their students. So whether you're somebody who's just new to safety or a seasoned professional, we have a series of steps that you can take from an education and training perspective to help you get to that next step, that next level.
Okay, nice. So we're on the same page there. It sounds like, okay, I feel better about, I'm like taking this all in. I'm like trying to process the different levels, but it sounds like I was on track there. So how does this might be kind of a weird question, because this sounds pretty like a standard, it's a very standardized thing, but how does this program compare to other programs like it? So I wonder if, because OSHA is OSHA, you can't really, can you take like a non-recognized by OSHA? Is there anything like that? You know what I mean? Like, is there anything, are there alternatives to it? Or there, would people not, I'm thinking of like from an audience perspective, like someone who's coming to take this class, what are their alternatives to taking this class, and how would this program like compare to it? I don't know if there are any alternatives out there.
Yeah, there are organizations out there who are teaching occupational safety and health. They don't have to be an authorized, or recognized OSHA Training Institute Education Center to teach safety and health courses. They do have to be an OSHA Training Institute Education Center to teach OSHA numbered courses. So an external organization wouldn't necessarily be able to teach the OSHA 511 class. They could teach OSHA standards, but it wouldn't be the OSHA number 511 occupational safety and health standards for general industry course. So that's one thing, that we're recognized as one of those few OSHA education centers across the country that can teach these OSHA numbered courses. And we've been doing that for over 25 years. So I think that gives us a lot of credibility. We're also affiliated with Eastern Michigan University, which is a well-known and well-regarded educational institution, and our partner organizations in our consortium, the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine and the International UAW Health and Safety Department. So I think that the strength of that consortium gives us some credibility that XYZ company may not have.
Yeah.
Right. So when they get a certificate for completion of their class, or we've also developed and instituted a digital badging system.
Okay.
They get a digital badge, or if they get a certificate of completion, it's from the Great Lakes OSHA Education Center at Eastern Michigan University. So it's, it has both of those names on it.
The OSHA numbered class or courses. So that's probably something that's like pretty useful, like it's saying like a job interview, if you're in some sort of, if you're interviewing for some role where safety plays a big factor, like you'd probably be asked in that job interview, like, are you certified in this specific thing? So having the OSHA number probably is a lot better than saying you took like a random certificate course that was semi-related, I'm guessing. In
probably
situations.
And OSHA doesn't like the word certified, so we don't use the word certified for our classes, but we do use the word, it's a credential, it's a certificate, but it's not a certification. In the safety world, as in many other types of industries, a certification is typically offered by a third party, and it includes both maybe an education and an experience component. And typically there's a test that you have to take to complete the certification. And then you need continuing education units typically, which is what we offer, to maintain that certification. And if for some reason you don't, there's an ethical issue or whatever, that certification can be taken away from you. Ours is an educational program. So we offer continuing education units. We offer certificates of completion. We offer safety certificates that are a certificate or a credential, but not a certification in the way that like the certified safety professional from the Board of Certified Safety Professionals would be.
Okay.
So that's something that people often think if they get a card from OSHA, that makes them certified. But if you get a trainer card, you're an OSHA authorized outreach trainer. And if you get a 10 or 30 hour card, it's not a certification, it's just a card that says that you've completed this training.
Okay. Yeah, that type of language is interesting. I feel like it's come up before on some of the PPAT programs. And it feels like a lawyer wrote that somewhere. This house is for that version.
People just understand it differently, and we're trying to educate people on what the differences are.
So it's you earn a certificate, but you're not. It's not
certified.
Certified, yeah. And I think that's definitely a distinction. But yeah, I'll keep that in mind too as I'm writing, because I think I can't remember what other program something like that came up in, and I was like, oh yeah, that's like I don't really, like in my day-to-day life, I don't really think of that being like a particular difference. So like when I speak, it just like comes out, but then when you actually like looking into it, yeah, there's definitely a difference in some disciplines.
Yeah, it's just that terminology that we're trying to be consistent about.
Right. So who are the instructors for the class, and do you want to talk about their like level of experience in the specific field of like OSHA health and safety?
One of the things about our instructors is they have years of experience in their different industries. So they've been safety practitioners. It's not just a theoretical knowledge. They've been sort of in the trenches, whether it's in a safety role, safety leadership role, and many of them do have certifications, certified industrial hygienist, multiple different certifications based on the, that informs the courses that they teach for us. So right now we have a pretty select group of instructors that we're working with. Most of them have been with us for many years, and we have added to our instructional pool. For example, if somebody goes through one of our certificate programs with a particular skill set or set of expertise or experience in a particular topic, we're able to see how they teach by them being part of our one of our trainer courses. They're required to give a presentation, so the instructor gives feedback, peers give feedback, and then we're able to kind of see them in front of the classroom. So we did actually hire one of our students, or one of our class participants who completed a series of courses with us, to develop a new course, Industrial Robot Safety and Risk Assessment. So he developed that course, which is a non-OSHA numbered course, but it's part of our other pool of courses that may be able to be applied to our certificate programs. But that was something new that came out of some expertise that one of the participants had, that we were able to capitalize on and have him join our instructional team for that particular program.
Okay, well, that sounds like an interesting one. I would I think that'd be pretty interesting. So is that something that OSHA is that something that it sounds like it's probably might be something down the road that they would incorporate into their program, the robot industrial risk assessment sort of, or maybe not something that specific, but maybe something along those lines. Do you guys look at that to consider, or is it just like there was like a demand for it.
Yeah, the courses that OSHA develops as OSHA numbered courses typically grow out of a particular industry need. There are some new courses that are going to be coming out in the next year on healthcare. Many healthcare professionals weren't coming to our general industry courses because they thought they were really manufacturing based. So OSHA has been working with OSHA Education Center directors and key staff to really identify what occupational safety and health needs there are in the healthcare industry, and then develop a course or a set of courses around that. Care is a huge industry, and there are a lot of different people in a lot of different areas that work in that industry who need some courses, some occupational safety and health courses specifically designated for them.
But it's mostly, yeah, workplace demand, and then sometimes there's they try to expand out into these industries that are maybe a little underserved, it sounds like.
Right, or there's a high incidence of injury or illness or fatalities in a particular topic area. So trenching, heat, ergonomics is another one that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Like standing and sitting at your desk sort of thing?
Standing, sitting, moving. Another one is they're coming up with a course or updating the course on warehousing, public warehousing and storage. I mean, that has just exploded. That industry has just exploded over the last few years. Everybody's ordering by mail now, or email to have things shipped to them. And so that's a need right now to make sure that people who are working in those warehouses, from an ergonomic standpoint, from a fall protection standpoint, got big high shelves that from a powered industrial truck standpoint, if they're driving around these high-lows, there's lots of potential for injury and illness or fatality in those particular situations. So OSHA is the Office of Training and Education is developing courses with some input from the OTIEC network to address those issues.
Okay. Back to the instructor thing. How many instructors are there for this program at Easton?
So we probably have 10 instructors that come to our OSHA instructors meeting every year. But because we're offering more courses in a virtual format, we've come to rely on several instructors that have now become more comfortable with that delivery method. So training in person can be different than training virtually on Zoom like this, or in our case, we run our courses through Canvas, which is our learning management system, and Zoom. So we were able to have live virtual sessions like this with wraparound activities in Canvas that people can do on their own, or submit an assignment or a compliance statement, or do a peer review and using the quiz software, that kind of thing. One thing that people often highlight, in addition to the knowledge that they gain, is they really find a lot of value with our instructors. And the instructors are knowledgeable industry experts with years of safety experience, and also they're excellent teachers.
University Phillips Division, to be recognized for student-centered learning, high quality academic programs, and community impact, especially community impact. I think for this one, it seems like that could be, there's probably some things that it's done there.
The Great Lakes OSHA Education Consortium, that group trains about 1,700 participants per year. So that's 40,000 students over the past 25 years. So we've trained a significant number of people. The trickle-down effect, one is that we do the train the trainer for the outreach program. And nationwide, the outreach training program across the whole country trained over 1 million workers in these 10 and 30-hour classes. So over 1 million workers were able to get the training they need. Really, it's awareness training, it's hazard recognition training about how to keep themselves safe. And as far as like how this program helps the university fulfill its mission, we're professional programs and training and the Great Lakes OSHA Education Center are part of Engage at EMU, which is really build as a one-stop shop between the university and the community. It's part of EMU's Carnegie classification, and it's designed to make an impact, have a positive impact on the community. So we feel really fortunate to be part of that mission of Engage, to support the occupational safety and health training needs in this particular case of the business community and workers throughout this particular the Ypsilanti area and surrounding communities.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to what you said earlier about like the people that are very passionate about this program, because they're kind of out here, saving lives. So to kind of trickle, like, to put that into the community, I mean, at a certain point it is, literally saving lives. So I think that is also huge for the community.
Yeah, we're like an extension. We're an extension of OSHA's mission to help every worker come home safely at the end of every day.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.